Oh, welcome to Badger Beer Report, where me and my colleague Joe Geyer are in-house brewery expert. Yes,
Hey, Greg, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, even though I'm not prepared for this. I've been doing great, and you know
Well,
what?
we're not prepared because it's been an absolute whirlwind of the last 2 weeks. Yeah, like, it's been what 2.5 weeks since we were doing this. And we're like, oh, we'll maybe do this once a month. We'll see if we have enough news. And then it just all came like a fire hose. Um, and we have a lot to color. We have a couple things to kind of circle back on, but most of this is all fresh stuff since we just talked to you guys. So
Amen.
yeah, there's a lot going on all over the state too. This is not confined to one area. Um, so yeah, unless you have something else that you wanted for introduction, we might as well pull up the
No, let's get in.
slides. And the best part is before we jump in, we're gonna start off so that people know we're gonna start off. Got a couple closures, so get the negative stuff out of the way. But a majority of what we're talking about today are expansions, new breweries, all positive news, which is really really exciting. But as I said, we're going to start off first. We did have a couple closures here in the last couple of weeks that were announced. The first was City Service Brewing down there in the very southern part of the state. Apparently, they're going to be using it personal car and antique shop now. But this is not one that I was personally familiar with in terms of I had not been able to visit there before. It says craft beer and coffee shop, so it definitely sounds like a kind of place I would have enjoyed, but it's kind of off there on its own. But I don't know if you have any thoughts. I don't know if you have any knowledge of these guys at all.
Nope.
All right.
That's a rare one that we've never been to.
And this is the same, and I think this is going to be the same story here.
Yeah, it is.
This is Whitewater Music Hall.
Yeah.
Up there in the northern part of the state. It was at Wausau. That they are also closing. This is another smaller brewery that also did some event type stuff that unfortunately has decided to close its doors. So yeah, this is another one that I had heard the name, but didn't seem like one that I had a lot of background with. But it's sad. It's sad, obviously, in both these cases, sad to see breweries go, especially when they're kind of those more hyper localized spots that probably had some real diehard locals there.
Yeah, as I love to say, when we lose a brewery, we lose a little community.
Mm-hmm. 110%. The next closure will be a name that I feel like a lot of people will at least recognize. It is not a brewery that is fully closing, thankfully, but Great Dane, after 15 years, is closing down their location in Wausau. So we had kind of a double dip here with two closures there in Wausau. We do have some positive news coming out of Wausau that we'll get to here later. But for now, yeah, they had kind of a rough go of it here with losing a couple of the breweries there in that community.
Absolutely. And now, Joel, Great Dane is basically centered in my town of Madison.
Yep.
We have the downtown Madison one. We have the southern one, which I call the southern one in Pittsburgh. We have the east side one up here off of Cottage Grove Road, and we also have the Hilldale one left. And we cannot forget to talk about Great Dane Brewing in Sendai, Japan.
Y'all. I was gonna say, yeah, it's centered in Madison, except for that pesky little one all the way across the Pacific Ocean.
Yes, and if y'all are interested, you can go back on Badger Beer Reports YouTube. We did a full interview with Phil there, who is the brewmaster there, and he took us on a whole brewery tour during the whole stream. So y'all can find that on Badger Beer Report YouTube for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is
And
one of these things that I think in the grand scheme, it was probably, I don't know exactly the business side of things behind this and the reason for the closure, but Great Dane is obviously very much a mainstay in the Madison community. So while this is sad for Wausau, the brand as a whole is certainly not going anywhere. Me personally, I wouldn't read it too much into this. If you are a Great Dane fanatic in the Madison area, I wouldn't be stressing about it too much yet. But yeah, so we got that out of the way. We can now move on to some more positive notes. So the
this one's
first
fun.
one here is we are kind of staying over there in your neck of the woods.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
sir. This is a fun one. This is a fun
yeah.
one.
Yeah. So Hop Garden Brewing and Tap Room are opening up their third location in Belleville. And as of now, it sounds like the plan is that it will be opening up next month. So it's it says less than 6 miles south of Paoli. And if you're having a hard time reading that, they have fully refurbished a 1917 historic garage. And then they will also have an outdoor beer garden that overlooks Lake Bellevue. So this sounds like an awesome place. Going to have some smoked barbecue, live music. This is one of the other breweries that you have been to that I have not yet. So I have been to a lot of breweries, and we are hitting and discussing a lot that I have not been to so far early on in this show. But I definitely need to, obviously, because they are certainly booming out here, with now a third location that sounds like an awesome venue too.
Yes, sir. And so the main location of the Paoli Tap Room is Joel is one of the best outdoor spaces in the Southern Wisconsin brewery. I really believe it's really nice. It's not so much that it's like refined. It's just that it's so rustic and right by a little creek there, and it's shaded, and it's just really, really nice. And then their other one is the Evansville Tap Room that I've never been to. So they're just going to make it three locations. Looks like 2 in Paoli and 1 in Evansville. So they're becoming a really, really strong they're really starting to have a really strong foothold, and I believe they still grow their own hops on their own farm. So this is really a fun one, y'all. I would suggest that you dip into this. I'm going to make sure I dip into it. And of course, Joel, if Joel hasn't been to a brewery, y'all know what's on his list. So
yeah, it's on the map. Don't worry, it's on my Google Maps. I got all of them that I haven't been to start on there. So hopefully I can get out that direction because especially this location just sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for anything that is near and around water. So this definitely sounds right up my alley.
Yeah.
And
one more point before
go for
done.
it.
Or now, one more point is that, like, in general, I love when breweries take existing places and just make it their own. It's just
that's
too
my
much.
thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just my thing. It's mine too. So it's both ours. But
it's all about. I write about that all throughout my book, man. I love the repurposing of these buildings, and especially when they are open about the history of these buildings. I think it really speaks to the community and allows to breathe new life into these places that otherwise would just be forgotten, essentially, in a lot of ways.
Good times.
Yeah. And so the next story we have, I think, was kind of came from the clouds in a lot of ways. Milwaukee beer fans will be ecstatic to learn that Mobcraft is being revived, and not just like, something new's going into that space. Mobcraft beer is going to be back. They are getting revived under a new owner who was part of Mobcraft at one point. And so I am just really interested to see how this goes, how it's different, how it is the same. Because obviously there will obviously be lots of similarities, and I'm sure there will be differences. But as someone that has a soft spot for Mobcraft because of specifically the low funk sour is one of the sour that I drink maybe the most of during that first year that we lived here in like 2016. It's won many awards, and they've done so many interesting, fun beers that really pushed the envelope before a lot of other people were pushing the envelope when it came to craft beer. So this is one that I think it's a great location there, Walker's Point. I am hoping that they find a lot of success. And I think a lot of folks are going to be happy that this one is coming back.
So yeah, there's a couple things I got. We all know that Mobcraft has a rich history. They
Hmm.
started in 2011 and unfortunately did not make it to 2025. So that is 13 years they were there. Um, I part of the problem that Mobcraft had was that they made some extension. They tried
Yep.
to branch out further, and it just didn't work. Now more on the new owner. This is why I'm excited about this show, and I know you know this, but
Hmm.
the new owner, y'all, is from, as Joe mentioned, is was a former worker, but not only
Yep.
was she. So now we got a new we got one more female owned brewery, which is wonderful. Not only is she did she work there, she worked in the financial part, y'all. So she knows these finances.
She
So
knows where things
that's
went
really
wrong.
encouraging. Yeah, she knows where things went wrong. She knows what things were going right. She knows the books. And that's really important. It's not like it's some outside marketing firm that doesn't know who the brand is. Like
Yep.
this lady knows the brand, and it's her and her husband. So that's really great. I read, Joel, that they plan on continuing to crowdsource beer ideas
Yeah.
and the staple beers that Mobcraft is known for. So it's gonna I almost think it's gonna be like you're just gonna be walking in, and Henry's still the owner, but Henry won't be there, and it'll just have that same feel. I really think that that's what they're going for. So I'm excited for everybody who's a Mobcraft fan. And then also, I don't, one thing about Mobcraft is that they are definitely they're award-winning brewery. I don't think
Hmm.
that they either showed their. It's not something that I think of when I think of Mobcraft is they're award-winning brewery, but they won medals at the Great American Beer Fest and the World Beer Cup, which are both our prestigious, the most prestigious beer awards. So it wasn't just like
Yeah. Some
Milwaukee
local competition.
neighborhood.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't a Milwaukee neighborhood thing, which is good for local, but they were again renowned, at least in the bigger beer world too. So this is really significant, I believe, and I'm just happy that it's going down. So yeah,
Yeah,
there we
well,
go
and,
with that one.
and as you said, I think the new lease on life. I think I would assume learning from the expansion, some of the expansion decisions, and I would imagine they're going to be pretty focused, especially early on just that taproom experience and getting that back to what they want it to be.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'll definitely have to get back down there once it reopens, and we'll be able to update the numbers because, like I said, we had a stretch there towards the end of the year that we lost a few here around the Milwaukee area, so it's nice to see one of those big names, bounce back here.
And Chris is trying to get an interview for us, y'all. So if he does, we can get into whether they're just going to hopefully just remain a local thing and not try to have,
Hmm.
Henry had big ideas. Love Henry, and we all love Henry, he's great. But he had big ideas and those just didn't work out. And then
Yep.
that kind of led to where we're at now. So cheers for Mobcraft, and I'm happy
Yeah.
about this one.
I am very, very happy. This was awesome news to see. Um, and speaking of rebirth and speaking of Wausau, this is now our third slide. Half the slides so far have been about Wausau. The first two, not so happy, but this one is
Yeah.
very happy. So we covered this Bull Falls when they went through their closure. They had some significant financial issues with the city and some loans and
Mhm.
had to close down essentially. And now a new owner has stepped in and purchased it, and they are planning to reopen the brewery up there. And this is one that has been part of the community for a long time, and it sounds like they're going to be making some pretty significant changes and updates, hopefully, when the time comes for them to reopen.
And that's how I feel. But
Yeah.
yeah.
This is another one of the ones that we covered towards the end of the year that we're like, we're starting to, a couple are losing. And now that we've had two here within the last couple weeks here that have announced that they're going to be reopening.
Yeah, and it was honestly my one stop there was not my favorite stop ever. Um and I felt that Bull Falls was outdated. I felt that
Hmm.
it was a place that really didn't have any upgrades. Now, that's one of the things that Joel was talking about is that they're talking about renovation, adding food. They had a food truck, but they didn't have in-house food. So we're hearing in-house food. Bull Falls, Joel, goes back to 2007. So
Yes.
it's an OG up there. It's been there around a long time. I really believe that it has a lot of local ties. I haven't really felt I heard anything on the ground, but I'm sure those locals at the Bull Falls locals are going to just love this.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't get to see much of the article, so or I
I've
did
got, well, I
see.
was going to say, I've got like what they're planning on besides, expanding on food service. They're going to be adding a beer garden. It says they're planning on upgrading the tap room. And they're also looking into possibility of replacing the tent that was on the south end of the property, I guess, that they had for parts of the year, with a permanent structure so they can support events year round. So they really are looking at, I think, becoming more brew pub esque. And like you kind of talked about, and what I kind of agreed with when I know we talked about it, was revamping that interior and that experience when you are visiting, to kind of bring it into this more modern craft beer era, I guess you could say. But besides that, like, we don't have like a lot of other specific details. So this is another one of those stories that I'm sure once we get to an actual reopening, we will have more to share with this. But as of right now, we can just be excited that the brand is coming back with someone who seems committed to revamping and revitalizing it, for this community that, like you said, it's been around. If it had survived a couple more years, it would have been around 2 decades. And that's nothing to
Mhm.
sneeze at in the craft beer community.
And I'm assuming, but we will have updates in the next, probably the next Badger Beer report, or I'm
Hmm.
sorry, Badger Brewery report, because what Joel and I are always interested, of course, because we're Badger Beer report, is what the beer is going to be tasting, and I'm hoping that they keep a strong tie to what they were doing, which is mostly lagers. But I also
Hmm.
hope that there's a little bit of upgrade on the recipes, because I also felt that the recipes were a little, I wouldn't say dated, but I would like a little more pizzazz. Again, keep the loggers. I mean, no one's going to be complaining about that. But Joe, I have here, they had their flagship was the 5 Star Ale. They
Hmm.
had a nut brown ale that was
Hmm.
pretty good. They had the Lagerfest ale, and then they had a Holes Hacker ale. Or I'm sorry, lager. So they do have some ales mixed in, but I just remember them being a lager house, mostly,
A lot of
and I mean
traditional
that's a good thing.
German, yeah, a lot of traditional
Yeah.
and German and European styles. And one of the notes, so I did on the article, it says that it does not say a reopening, but it says that they expect to make their beers available to local establishments by Memorial Day weekend. So, in time for when summer kind of kicks off, it sounds like they are hoping to have beer being churned out of there.
Yeah, and as I look at my watch, that's what, a month or so. So
Yeah,
the
month and
renovation
a
is
half
probably
or
going to
so.
take
Yeah.
much longer than that. Yeah, the renovation is going to take much longer than that.
Yeah, I would
I would
assume it
assume.
would. Yeah,
Right, and
if
then
they're doing anything worthwhile, it will take some time.
my last note on Bull Falls, real quick, is that I did not know this, but the brewery name and logo are inspired by the historical Big Bull Falls, which is right in the Wisconsin River there in
Hmm.
Wausau. So there's they're definitely tied to the area, and they're definitely a local one. And we will let y'all know when the tap room's opening, and I will be trying to roll up there when it does, because I'm really interested to see what's going on there. So good update there out of Wausau.
Absolutely. And before we get to any of the more fresh new openings, we have
Ooh.
a quick little ad here. Lager and Friends happening is now going to be next month. Technically next month here at the end of May, Saturday, May 31st. Lager and Friends at Gathering Place Brewing Company in River West. It is taking place at the brewery. Again, on the 31st, it's going to be from 12 to 4. This is the event that if you are into loggers like me, you have to go to this type of event. Some of the best breweries, both locally and just around the region, are making incredible loggers, and that includes us. We are going to be doing a collab beer with Gathering Place. That is going to be really exciting to get to do. You can still go on and get tickets, whether it's just the regular tickets or the VIP. And some of the newbies for breweries that you can look out for that are going to be new for this year include Hopewell and Revolution from Chicago and Cocoon from up in De Pere. So some new
Yes.
fresh faces along with a lot of the mainstays like, the Dovetail, the Earth Rider, the Amorphic, the 1840, the Sketchbook, all of those amazing breweries that many of you know and love, will be there, and we will be there too. So you'll be able to come and say hi to all of us, hopefully all of us.
Yeah.
But
Scheduled all of us at this point.
yeah,
All of us are
yeah.
scheduled.
So that
So
is
yeah.
definitely something that you need to go check out. Even, I mean, everyone should be into loggers, in my opinion. But even if you're not, you can still come and just hang out. I guess, I don't know. Get one of the DD tickets. But yeah, and if you
And
do, need to include. There's food this year that is included. Brats, hot dogs, all that food is going to be included in your ticket. So definitely come out. It's going to be a great time.
there's only a certain amount of tickets available, y'all, so you have to go get them. But
Yeah.
also, though, that also means that it's a laid back. It's not one of these big ones where it's just too many people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really, really a small, intimate, wonderful beer fest that you can meet your Badger Beer Report friends, Greg, Joel, Landon, and that guy Chris Drosner. I think some people know him, but if you don't, it's fine. You'll meet him there. So, Joel, you have something coming up, don't you?
I do. So as you are listening to this live now, or if we get it out before Saturday, this Saturday, April 5th, I'm going to be at Epilogue Books in downtown Menominee Falls for a book signing for my book, Flights Across America, A Brewery Lover's Journey. This is going to be taking place. I've been working to try to get my books in with more of the small, locally owned bookstores and bookshops kind of around the Milwaukee metro area. So I've gotten a couple now that I'm going to have my books in. And if you know of any that you feel would be a good fit, let me know. But this event is particularly fun because I'm going to be at the bookstore during the Menominee Falls downtown pub crawl. So if you are going to the Menominee Falls downtown pub crawl, I am going to be basically along that route in the bookstore. And so in between grabbing beers, I don't know if there are, oh yeah, Greg's holding up the book there if you're watching right now. A signed copy, mind you. So, but I don't know if tickets were fully sold out yet or not. I know that like a day or two ago they posted they had a few left, but they have like flight boards for this. It sounds like a really fun event to kind of go between some of the different bars and taverns and stuff there in downtown Menominee Falls. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Again, just hang out with me. You can buy a book, but otherwise just come and chat in between having a beer. So yeah, that is New Berlin.
Look at this.
Yeah. Set up a book thing there. Hey, Tyler, we're gonna have to link up after I'm done with this. I'm not gonna try to start sending a message on my phone right now, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to get down to New Berlin.
Excellent. Good times.
Awesome.
All right, Joel.
Yeah.
So don't we have news that's connected to this whole thing or no?
We do. We're not there quite yet. I should have actually thought of to do that though. You're right. That would have been a really good segue. And so now we're just going to awkwardly segue into something else.
All right. Good time.
This one. So this is an intriguing thing to me because it is not a true brewery opening as of now, but as the headline reads, if you are just listening, a retired Kewanee man is launching Lake Whispers Brewing. And although it says aims to open up a brewery, he is opening up and planning to open up a brewery that will then distribute beer to a lot of local accounts. That is what he's working on. It sounds as of now, it will be Sans Tap Room, according to the article. But if you are up in that general vicinity, you can start to be on the lookout here in the coming months, potentially. This is something I'm going to kind of keep my eyes on to see if it continues to pop up for Lake Whispers Brewing. And the only image I could really find were for a couple beers, including it looks like one of the main ones that he's made is Feisty Waters Wit Beer. So if you see anything called Feisty Waters Wit Beer, it is probably from this man that is in retirement, is deciding to try to, go pro essentially. And he is going to have, it sounds like, an actual like brewery outside of his home. It just will not have a tap room for now, is my understanding from the article.
Interesting model to come out, and I get it. Real quick, we will have a profile on a brewery called Some Nerve Brewing up in northern Wisconsin. They call themselves a retirement brewery too. They're in retirement, but they open a brewery. And they were talking to me, and we'll talk to them about how it is to just be a two-man crew and to be retired, but also to have to do the tap room. And they're talking about how that tap room almost takes as much time out of their energy as doing the brewing. So I feel what man here is doing. I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but I understand his after talking to some Mer people, I understand this model. But it's to me, it's another brewery, and it's just another option for us. And if y'all are Kewanee, these names in Wisconsin, I can't. If y'all in Kewanee, look for Lake Whispers. And I know we're going to be looking for it, so hopefully we can spotlight it or find something on it. But
Yeah,
this
because
is
that'd
an
be a lot of
interesting
fun.
model, Joel, and I'm excited about this
And
too.
I should have included this, but his name, Chris Schroeder, is his name.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yep.
So this is, and it
Not
says that
man.
he launched, he has had this passion since he visited England 25 years ago, according to the article, a business trip there. Here, complete list of where, it actually already debuted, it says now. So Noble Roots, I should have included this in the notes. Noble Roots Brewing is who is packaging it, brewed and packaged it, and is available. There's a list here. They're not places I'm aware of. Wildflower Supper Club, Tapped on the Lakeshore, Bucket Bar and Grill, Thirsty Cow Tap House, Gibbs on the Lake. So if you're up in that general area, you can go. If you just type in Lake Whispers Brewing, you'll be able to find the article. There's a list of the places that you can find it. Another little fun little news that again came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's great.
And speaking of coming kind of out of nowhere, I did not realize. So Brewed Omen in Hartford, Wisconsin, has been kind of a beer bar type place. When they first were opening, I was like, oh, like this will be cool. Like, is it going to be Brewed Omen? Is it going to be like, a brewery? It's just kind of a tasting room with different things. It's in, it's in the restored Millstream beer, building. But I think it was just a couple days after we did our first brewery report, they posted about brewery update. Lots of old stuff gone, and they were pouring in a concrete floor on the lower level with planning on installing brewing equipment. So it said the install is actually going to start here on April 16th and projecting to be done in early May. So they have, I don't know if you can see it at the very bottom. So they actually have on their post a countdown of how many days it has been since a brewery has brewed beer in Hartford. And it's over 32,000 days. But they said that the first beer is likely going to be over 32,200, but we shall see. So they are tracking it. It sounds like they are taking that next step. So they immediately soared to the very top of my radar, because that's within striking distance for me very easily. And I will have my ear down to the ground here, listening for any other rumblings on this for when that will all come to fruition. And you can bet that I will have firsthand reports from that when it does happen. So that is a fun another fun addition coming down the pipeline, hopefully either later this spring or early summer.
Oh yeah. This is fun. I know, this is fun. It's great. It seems like there's a little bit of a desert there too. So let's go. Let's go.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So I think that kind of area, I think, is starting to have a couple things pop up, and it's nice to see these communities that have not had anything. And it's also I was looking, it's actually located, like I said, the Millstream Building. It's on the river there, right in downtown Hartford. So should be a really cool spot to go for breweries. And I'm sure people already go there, just have already been visiting there just for the tasting room. So I'll have to see if there's any other reports on that. But if not, I will be getting there myself in the near future.
Yep. And we will be bringing that to y'all. Oh, yeah. Here's one I'm really excited about.
So this was in our things to watch for during our last time we were talking, Greg. And again, lo and behold, I'm not kidding. What was it? Probably like hardly like two days or whatever afterwards. Of course, they post this big update, making a lot of great progress in the building. It says, going through inspections, getting lots of the siding done. If you are watching, you can see it on their Facebook post, or if you're not, if you go to the Boulder Junction Brewing Company, they have a website, but if you go to their Facebook page, you can see the pictures. They were turning on permanent electricity. That's a good step. Worked on the structure for their Mug Club memberships. It says receive the final shipment of our wastewater treatment system. This is a brewery, as we said last time, that has been a long time coming in planning. A lot of hurdles. They have been working on this. I know that you talked with the folks from Some Nerve because they're all, a close knit community up there in the North Woods. And yeah, this is a place I grew up going to Boulder Junction. I had some kind of distant family that lived up there. I think it's going to be great. Excited to see how this all shakes out. But I don't know. What are your thoughts after talking with the folks that maybe have a little more intel than we do?
Yeah, much of that was off the record, so I can't really say some things. But also though, y'all, first, a couple of things I would like to note is that they're going to be female owned and brewed.
Mm-hmm.
So the brewmaster is going to be female. So and she has experience from New Jersey. So
Okay.
it's definitely not somebody just starting up a brewery, or you know what I mean. So we have a brewmaster that has some some chops. So we can expect that the brewers should be pretty good coming
Pretty
out. But
dialed
y'all
in.
know how. Yeah, but y'all know how it is as far as having a brewer in their new, what I mean. So we're gonna, we need to give them a little bit of time. But other than that, I don't have anything to say on the record. I can say though, we should be able to get them in here pretty soon once everything opens and all the hectic, crazy things happen with the opening a brewery happens. But we should be hearing from Boulder Junction firsthand here hopefully soon. Our friends put a good word in for us, but Joel and I are both. I've never been there. I'm just excited from the off the record things I've been hearing, and Joel's excited for the on the record things we've been hearing. So this is this exciting, especially built from scratch too. Joel and I love that. We just mentioned that we love when you can convert things, but again, I also love a new space. I mean, who doesn't love a new space? And have
there's not that many
vision.
buildings in Boulder Junction either. Like there wouldn't have been that many choices. You kind of so.
But it's nice that a brewer can have that vision and say, hey, this is start from the ground up, and this is how we want, this is the ambiance that we want. So really interesting thing. We'll move on here, but and because we'll be hearing much more about Boulder Junction in the future.
Just great to see the Northwoods getting more action up there. I think that's going to be a great addition. And this was another one that we had mentioned about things to keep an eye on. And again, immediately when we were done talking, essentially they were posting more progress reports. This is Brewfinity Brewing. So they're opening up the location there in Pewaukee. So this is one that still no firm updates on timelines. I don't believe I've not seen anything. But this will be their second location for Brewfinity. And it looks like it's coming along nicely, making good progress. And I mean, this may be one that hopefully will be able to be open here in the not too distant future.
Yeah, my notes say spring of 2025. So it's spring, y'all. What's going on? But anyway, I'm just kidding. But
I was going to say, whenever a brewery tells you that when they're going to be like opening up, you need to add, you need to add some time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially if they're building it out like this, and not just kind of moving into another establishment. So, but here's some, as you mentioned, the main location now, y'all have 16 different beers on tap. So I guess you can expect the robust. In this one, I guess you can respect a robust variety going on there. They're really Brewfinity has a they have a history of being noted. One of the things that they were noted as one of the 50 fastest growing U.S. craft brewers in 2008 by the Craft Brewers Association. So they've been recognized as somebody who's up and coming brewery, and that was 7 years ago, and now they have taken that to add another extension of their main place. And then also smoked meat options is what I kind of got out of what's going to be in here. So I don't know if they're going to have a smoker there, but I mean, who doesn't like some smoked meat?
No, I mean that's got to be great.
Yeah.
Well,
and if I recall,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if I recall correctly, they have a really nice food menu there in Economawalk, right? Because I this is one of the ones that I see the food and I'm like, I need to get to this place. I mean, I love beer, y'all know, but like a good combination with food is just come on now.
Well, I was going to say, for those that maybe don't know, I don't remember if we mentioned this last time. It's going to be in kind of the downtown area of Pewaukee, right on the main Wisconsin Avenue, across the street from Pewaukee Lake. So really nice location. I think there's a lot of other local businesses, coffee shops, chocolate places, bakeries, all that kind of stuff So I think it should be a great location for foot traffic, which they do not have at their other location in Oconomowoc. That is not like a, walking friendly, you stumble upon it willy-nilly location.
You got to
So I
go
think
there.
that this is a much more friendly location in terms of just drawing in people that may not be familiar with you. So I think this is a great move for them, hopefully, and excited to check it out once it is open.
And great for the Milwaukee community too, because
Yes,
you know how I
100%.
love those breweries in our community. So we will have updates on Brewfinity coming up, y'all, for
Yeah,
sure.
Milwaukee. Maybe we'll run into one of the JJ Watt or TJ Watt. Maybe one of them will be there at some point. So, next up, so this is what you were hinting at when we were talking about Menominee Falls. So this has been kind of the big news that kind of came out of nowhere earlier this week. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Monday.
Monday started.
This is Monday. So the Menominee, and I've been following the Menominee Falls downtown stuff because, again, I am doing a book event, and they are doing the brew pub, or not the brew pub, but the pub crawl that same day. And so I was following, and all of a sudden they posted on Monday, coming soon. We're beyond excited to announce that something new and exciting is coming to downtown. And it said this family-operated business converted an automotive shop into brewery. More clues will come daily, leading up to the reveal on Saturday during our pub crawl. And so obviously I was like, oh, because right now Menominee Falls has Third Space, has their Innovation Brew House up there, but it's not in Menominee Falls the way that, it's right on the freeway. It's not in Menominee. It has a Menominee Falls address, but like this is downtown Menominee Falls, all the other businesses. And I was sent it to you guys. I'm like, we were trying to brainstorm. Okay, what are all the breweries that we know that are in an old automotive shop? And so we started trying to brainstorm. I know me and you went back and forth with a couple kind of guesses, and they've since released a couple other hints, including one about like the number of beers that were brewed last year. And then they had yesterday was a hint about wood-fired pizza. Today was about a brewery dog. And with the wood-fired pizza, so I used my super sleuthing and my knowledge and was able to get a pretty good guess. I felt to deduce who this was going to be. And I messaged.
What are we talking about?
Well, I did nail it. Okay. Well, what I was going to say is I messaged that brewery, and they confirmed with me. They confirmed with me that yes, it is them that is expanding to this Menominee Falls location.
But
at this
they
point,
don't want you to talk about it.
At this point, we are not, because the city and themselves are doing an announcement on Saturday during the pub crawl. They're going to have signage up in the building, doing posts, all that kind of stuff. Other people I've seen after today, I think I was the first one to kind of, because I think I posted something on the Instagram. I was like, hey, like I think I might know this. And Menominee Falls was like, oh yeah, we like seeing all the guesses, and I posted it, and they didn't reply. So but other people today have started to get it. So I would guess by tomorrow, if you're following that account, you're probably going to see the names, but that's not up to me to do. I will say it's not a name that it wasn't the first name when we first started discussing potential names to move here that we came up with. And it's a surprise, and I am very excited about it. It's a brewery I haven't been to yet, and now it's going to be right here close to me. It's not because it's not from the Milwaukee. I will say, I'll just give like the one other hint. I'll say it is not from the very direct Milwaukee. It's not from Milwaukee itself. So, but yeah, very, very excited about this one. If you are wanting to follow along, like I said, Menominee Falls downtown is going to be doing more. I think I'm assuming they're going to do one more hint tomorrow, and then they will be doing a post on Saturday during the pub crawl. If you are going to the pub crawl, the building is, let me see where, because it is going to be, it's at the the location, if people are familiar with Menominee Falls, in the downtown area, kind of where Appleton Avenue and Main Street are. It's on Main Street in the old Wisconsin on Tap. And so if you are doing the pub crawl, there is going to be signage up in that building. I believe that's what I've been told, is that there will be signage up to announce and promote the new brewery that is going to be coming in here. I should have confirmed with them whether or not they're going to be actually physically brewing there or not. I did not do that. I did see apparently they are doing, because their wood-fired pizza is a big thing, they are going to be doing wood-fired pizza there as well. So that's going to be a great addition. I feel like people should be excited for that in Menominee Falls. But yeah, so we'll next time we do this, we'll be able to talk a little more in depth, because at that point, we do have Tyler wants a guess. Yes, but
Yeah.
I cannot confirm.
We can't confirm.
I can't confirm.
Yeah, but guess, Tyler, sure. Guess, let's go.
Yeah, because there are, like I said, there are other people that are guessing it on Facebook. The first few days, I was the only one, but now there's a few more people getting it. So, I'll say this: that's a little too local. Germantown's a little too local, so I'll say that. That's one of the things that a lot of people have been saying, though. But I think that's probably too close for them. But the pizza there is another good one.
All I got for this one, and we can, I think, jump on, is that because we will come back our next report. We will absolutely get into the guts of this one. But I will say this is one of the funnest ways to announce an expansion.
Oh yeah,
period.
How cool is this?
So much fun.
They're building hype for it.
All of that. Look at that. We don't even ever get comments here, and Tyler's all over it. So like,
yeah. Well, I mean, because it's a thing. It's not just like a brewery that posts about it and then it just kind of gets washed over as things kind of like. This is the main city account, like hyping up people about it. It's not just like a one-off post and then people go along with their day. It's like it builds up the intrigue and the interest, and now more people are going to be familiar with this new business coming in. I feel like over the course of this week, and then announcing it during the big city pub crawl. I mean, very well done in my opinion, both from the city and the brewery. So very excited to report more on this here very soon. We'll probably post about it before the brewery report. We'll be posting and sharing it on all the Badger Beer Report socials when the announcement is made. So this is one that I wanted to just quickly cover because when I went to the Bucks game on Tuesday, I realized that we stopped I normally either do Central Waters or Pilot Project before the game because I can get a really good pint of beer there for half the cost of what it is to get a Michelob Ultra in the stadium. So I had looked at the tap list and, and they're obviously, I typically go to Central Waters, but I saw a name that I hadn't had anything from yet at Pilot Project. And that is this Cerveceria Paracaidista. I think I'm saying that right. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's a Mexican based brand. And I went in there and lo and behold, I talked to them and they said, yeah, like they are brewing here at Pilot Project in Milwaukee. And so I had their West Coast IPA, which was quite good. And yeah, they've apparently been brewing for like about 7 years, and they just started in on this partnership with Pilot Project. And so they are now being brewed here in Milwaukee. And I just thought that was a neat little addition because again, we've enjoyed covering Pilot Project and all the brands that have kind of came into our city here via Pilot Project. And I know we've talked at length too how beautiful that space is. The food's great. Location is very nice. So another little feather in the cap there for Pilot Project, another new brand. And I also saw, I should have covered this too. I think they have a new NA brand that they're working with as well. So a lot of interesting things coming out there of Pilot Project.
This one.
Yeah. And then I think the last two we have are just kind of updates to things that we discussed last time in the what to watch for. And the first one was Last Ditch. And we discussed at the time that we kind of were figuring out the timeline, and what we initially thought was correct, that although they had changed over everything online and everything, that it had not switched over fully. It was supposed to do that on April 1st, changing from our Noggin Brewing to Last Ditch Brew Pub. And they announced earlier, like a few days before, they were like, okay, like the first isn't going to happen, but we're going to be opening up on the second. And then on the second, they said, okay, we're not opening up on the second. We're going to be staying, we're still working on some finishing touches. And I'm assuming there's some last minute having to work through some red tape. But one of the other informations that we learned are that they are adding 4 new tap lines So for a place that's Arnogin size, they already had a healthy 12 taps, but they are apparently going up to 16. So I will have to get down there and see what all the fuss is about with this. I know, I know we talked about them last time. I think they're going to have a pretty wide variety of drinks, and also really going to go into the food and having full bars, and we'll see. I think I talked last time also about it's an interesting location because of its high visibility and not necessarily the most convenient to get to, but wishing them the best of luck. And like I said, I will be getting down there at some point after we get the full go from them. I'll be watching their socials. So, and then this one I'm going to basically let you kind of take, because North of the Bayou Brewery has reopened, and you went there today and had a pretty nice visit from what it sounds like.
Yeah, so North of the Bayou Brewery, it almost feels like a new brewery. It's kind of weird. It's been there for 6 years, y'all, but it doesn't. It doesn't have. It doesn't. It really ran like a restaurant. And the food, I had the food, as y'all can see. Actually, that picture there, that was $20, y'all. That was was a flight of four, and red beans and rice, and that was $20. That was literally $20, y'all. I mean, tip was more, of course, but they just got a new renovation, y'all. It's kind of an odd looking building. I think it's pink, and it's really I wouldn't say it's off-putting, but it's just an odd looking building. But when you walk in there, I mean, they just nailed the the bayou, the ambiance, the renovation was amazing. I wasn't ever in there before, but the renovation it's just great. You feel like you're in New Orleans, and
Love that.
yeah,
I
you
got to
feel
get
like
there.
you're in Nolans. Yeah, you got to get there. So it was a really fun visit. I had a couple beers there. As you can see, the IPA was great. That middle black one was a sports beer. So full disclosure, y'all, that last one there was a porter, and I didn't really I when I tasted it, and I even sent it to our group, I was like, this porter's a little off. So what happened was the brewmaster was right there, y'all, and I ended up talking to him. He's a really nice fella. Hopefully maybe we can get him on Badger Beer Report so y'all can meet him close. He's got some good stories. He's an author. He used to not mess with, but he used to work with reptiles. So this guy is pretty interesting. He really is. But the porter was a little bit off. So I said, "Hey man, your porter's a little bit off." And he went right behind it and he drank it. He's like, "Yeah, something's it's a little bit off." So I'm gonna pull that, and we'll work on that and we'll see what's going on. But it was just a really, really good. The other beers that I had, so he ended up giving me a couple more tastes. They got two IPAs that are really good. They got a sour there that people were liking. I didn't get to the wheat ale or the honey ale, but that's my next or blonde ale. That's my next spot. But Joel, the problem was they've been a brewery for 6 years, but they really never marketed their place as a brewery. And
No,
that's why
we
Joel
didn't
and
even
I did
fully
not
know.
know.
Yeah.
No, that's why we didn't know. So, and when I said that to the brewmaster, he was like, "Yeah, we didn't really advertise it like that." So now they're advertising it. Part of the reason why he said they didn't advertise it, and this is all on the record, he's like, "Hey, you can just tell me everything." Part of the reason why is that they were just a one barrel for a long time, Joel. So they weren't trying to act like they're some big brewery, if that makes sense. They were like, "Hey, we're going to make some brews for our restaurant people, and we'll be
Even though
good."
there used to
But
be a literal brewery in Madison called One Barrel Brewing Company.
absolutely. And then I mean also, without a doubt, we have Parch Eagle too. But I
Yeah.
think that they were just reserved about the brewery, if that just makes sense. And
Yeah, they were
and the
focused on
main
other things. Yeah.
well, and the main thing is the food, which
hmm
looked great, tasted great, and everybody, a lot of people say that it's great. So, um, North of the Bayou, yeah, it's a two barrel. Now they upgraded to a 2 barrel system with 4 1 barrel fermenters, so it's still a small, little, a little intimate brewery that they have there. A couple really quick notes, and then we can move on. But they actually, the North of the Bayou people own two other places here in Madison. One of them is Club Tavern, which is currently not open, but people in Madison know Club Tavern, so you will start to see North of the Bayou beers in Club Tavern, and then a place called Locker Room, which is right behind the old Oscar Mayer plant here in Madison. So we will be seeing more North of the Bayou beers, like I told Joel, they're really solid. They're approachable. Really, the IPAs are both very approachable, meaning very drinkable. But really, what I also noted that the styles that they had in there really go good with Nolan's food. You know what I mean? The
Man,
gumbos and the
you're talking to
jambalayas
me,
and the
man.
red beans and rice, and yeah. So this is it's weird because I just discovered this place. I drove past it a million times. Now they actually have a sign out that says brewery, and they're going to have a bigger one. They're working through red tape, normal red tape, but they're going to have a big brewery sign there soon, so people are going to know it's a brewery and a restaurant. And once you walk in, you're going to have food, the ambiance. I'm telling you, this is a sleeper place, even though they've been around for 6 years. So north of the bayou, y'all, look it up when you come to Madison. I can't say enough about it, and it's just wild because again, Joel and I could not figure out whether it was a brewery or not, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just wanted to comment quick because I think you knew that that was one of the places we lived while traveling was New Orleans, and specifically in the Trem Lafitte neighborhood, which is a historically black neighborhood where a lot of the good food is. And let me tell you, I got to go there. Just beer be damned, I need to go try some of this food too because I love some food from New Orleans, and I also loved. So the other comments I wanted to make about it, as someone that hasn't visited there yet,
Yep.
was that one, I love the rebrand, the logo. If you're not watching right now and you can't see it on the screen, North of the Bayou Brewery, as you said, they now include that on there, and it's got a crocodile wearing sunglasses and a cheese head. So really
Mhm.
cool, fun little logo. And then the big thing I noticed because you sent a link, and
Yep.
they didn't have like a True Blue website like this prior to this big
Yep.
rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
And you now
Mm-hmm.
go on and they got a big page dedicated to their breweries and specifically their beers. And I was very impressed. They have very thorough notes, tasting notes, aroma notes on their main beers. And I know that I think it's mostly just their core. Like I don't know if it's going to be all of their core beers, but
Mm-hmm.
seemed like kind of what's going to be their core beers. And then they do have more than that on tap at the tap room. So I'm assuming they're going to be rotating through some other stuff as well. But it's very clear to me that it was not just words that when because we were following along when they were doing these videos of we're going to take the brewery stuff more seriously. They're walking the walk with it. It seems to me in terms of all of the steps they are taking, the way that they are promoting it, the way that they are advertising it now with the website. And from the sounds of it, they're doing a pretty good job with it too. So this is definitely
Mm-hmm.
now on my agenda for sometime when I get there in Madison.
Yeah, and you better invite me because I want to go
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
it.
we're gonna have to meet up there, and then like you said, just gonna pig out, and we'll enjoy some beers
Yeah,
too. But
this was a pleasant surprise today. It was
yeah,
such a pleasant surprise because it was so unknown. And Joel was here for his book signing a couple months ago, y'all. And that was one of the places that Joel was talking about. And we were both like, it was a little out of our way for
when it was
where we
closed,
were.
as it turned out,
But oh, it was closed too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
we couldn't even do that. So,
for the
but we
rebuild,
were even
whatever.
like, I don't know, Joel, if we want to do this. I'm not sure. Maybe we should just do vintage because we just didn't know, and then we found out that it was closed. But yeah, this is I would actually call it a gem at this point because it just doesn't seem like. And I talked to one of my industry friends here in Madison, and I sent them a note and I said, "Hey, I was at Bayou today, and it's pretty good. It was great. It was a good time." And they're like, "Wait, what? Really?" So like, there's a level of even our industry people here in Madison, or just did not know about this place. So if y'all
Yeah,
and yeah, y'all come in again. The beers are solid. They're good. And the food was just great, and the ambiance is amazing. So check it out. Don't be put off by the I wouldn't say it looks weird. It's just a pink place, y'all. It doesn't it's not off-putting. It's just not even weird. It's just I don't know. Just go in though. Trust me. Go in and order the beer. And hopefully the brewmaster's there because he's a really friendly guy and really approachable. And again, like I said, I not criticized, but I gave him some constructive criticism about his porter, and he was just like, "Oh, he just went back, took care of it, and was like, oh no, I agree with you." So it wasn't there was no pretentiousness. He was just he liked the feedback, so it was just fun, Joe. You can move on, but
yeah.
North of
Well,
the
that this is
Bayou, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
yeah, I'm excited to check it out. And that's kind of where we'll end things. Is again, this is going to be how we kind of end things most of the time. First up, things to keep an eye on. Again, we're still keeping our eyes on Gravity Box and their announcement of expanding to a location in the Dells, as well as Fond du Lac Beer Company. Hopefully, going to be opening up here in the near future. Those are two other things besides everything else that we just talked about. Because I mean, yeah, like I said, we're going on an hour here, and it's just because the last couple weeks have been insane. And so the numbers with the closures and like the one, like this is kind of, we're kind of in this hovering around the same number that we have been for a while, but where this number is going to tick up here pretty soon. Cause like I just said, we got several breweries. We have two that are reopening I can just go back here. We have two that are reopening, Mobcraft and Bull Falls. We've got Brewfinity opening up their location. We got Gravity Box opening their location. We got Boulder Junction. We've got, so we've got a lot. We got a lot coming down the pipe here pretty soon in terms of official openings. And yeah, I guess we can kind of leave it at that, unless I don't know what else you want to do for recapping, but very exciting time. And if you had asked me at the end of, as we were coming into 2025, if I would have been excited and optimistic about the craft brewery scene in Wisconsin in April, I would not. I probably would have said no. I certainly would not have envisioned what we currently are all discussing. So, I know we're probably going to have some breweries and are going to be hurting. I guess we can end with, because of a lot of news here recently, specific tariffs and whatnot. We don't need to get into everything else, but please go and support your local breweries. They are going to need it. They are going to need it very, very badly. And, we see some of these breweries opening up more locations, and I am hopeful that they're able to find a lot of success with that. But yeah, visiting those breweries in person too, like go right to the tap room, give them every dollar, so that way they're not splitting with anybody. Just go to the tap room, drink at the tap room, buy from the tap room. That would be my big advice, especially if there are breweries out there that you love, that you wouldn't want to see go away. We kind of did this speech when we lost several breweries here in Milwaukee, places like Enlightened. So yeah, get out there, support those local breweries, and especially one of these newbies. Once all these newbies are out there, we'll be sure to update you, and you can go and check them out as well.
And Joel, your normal sign off is?
Whether it's where you're living or where you're visiting, be sure to drink local everywhere.